Welcome back. Prophet Bushiri giving a live briefing earlier on the reasons why he's fled South Africa to Malawi. The Hawks have confirmed that the Enlightened Christian Gathering church leader and his wife did not report to the nearest police station on Friday as part of their bail conditions. This is after news this morning that the Bushiris have fled to their home country of Malawi. They issued a statement raising safety concerns. The couple, alongside 3 other accused, are out on bail in a fraud, money laundering and theft case worth over 100 million rand. Earlier on, we also spoke to the Information Minister of Malawi, who said, yes, indeed, Bushiri is in Malawi, but they have not spoken to him yet. Let's take a look at this.
The Bushiris managed to skip the country. The Pretoria Magistrates Court granted the couple bail, despite the state declaring them a flight risk and Home Affairs Department saying they were in South Africa illegally. Despite swearing under oath not to abscond from court proceedings, the Bushiris have fled the country. This was confirmed by ECG attorney Terence Baloyi. The Hawks say they are investigating.
As per his bail condition and that of his wife, that they will make sure that they find at the station and then confirm that they are still in the country. Right. And when they did not do that, that's when we began with ascertaining as to what has transpired. And at this point, we are investigating the failure around them not complying with the court orders.
The Bushiris issued a statement saying they fled South Africa fearing for their lives, that the investigating officers in their case attempted to extort them, and when they reported the matter, nothing was done about it. They want the South African government to ensure their safety, their bail not to be revoked, and the investigating officers to recuse themselves. The Bushiris were restricted to Northwest and Gauteng, had to hand in their traveling documents and title deeds to all their properties, and were not allowed to leave the country. ECG attorneys also confirmed that the church is a South African entity run by South Africans. Therefore, it will still operate without the Bushiris. Offenses Timo, SABC News, Pretoria.
And as I mentioned earlier on, we spoke to Malawi's Information Minister, Gospel Kazako. He was saying that they are aware of Bushiri's presence in Malawi, but that because there's been no official overture from South Africa on the fact that he's there and that he's a fugitive, there's nothing they can do at the moment, that they are still looking at the facts at hand. SABC News Foreign Editor Sophie Mokoena is with me. Sophie, the minister kept on emphasizing the fact that pretty much almost saying that as a sovereign country they have a right to look out for their own citizen, and that he is very unsettled by the reports coming out of South Africa suggesting that their president may be involved in Bushiri's fleeing there. Could this create some sort of a diplomatic fallout or at least tensions between the two countries?
It will depend on how Malawi handled this. Should South Africa make a request, if Malawi is not willing to cooperate with South Africa, clearly this will lead to the strained relations, or it is going to strain the relations. And therefore, earlier on, or yesterday, when the two leaders met, President Ramaphosa had given the president of Malawi an assurance that he is willing with his administration to strengthen relations between the two countries. In fact, he indicated that the agreement that was there in terms of the relations between these two countries had expired, and therefore he was willing to engage his counterpart, President Chakwera, to start this agreement from scratch, but not only leave it at technocrat level, but to escalate it to ministerial level. Let's take a listen at what the president had to say in terms of improving and strengthening the relations between the two countries. And if Malawi doesn't cooperate with South Africa, this will be a serious problem to Ramaphosa's administration.
All right, we'll see if we can bring that report back on. What is quite important here, Sophie, what do you think? I'm just talking about the impression, or at least certainly what the information minister seems to believe about the status of Sheperd Bushiri here in South Africa, he seemed to imply that he was here legally. We know that the minister had said, the Home Affairs minister had said that he came here on a visitor's pass, and since then he has no legal status. Earlier on in an address, Sheperd Bushiri seemed to suggest that in 2014 or thereabouts, or 2016, that he was offered a legal citizenship in South Africa, but saying that you could see, because there are efforts to sabotage him, this is why he finds himself in this position. How plausible is this?
Well, of course, it's shocking, because what we heard from court when he appeared in court, where he was asking for bail, in terms of NPA and the South African authorities, the different departments, they presented a different case. But he also indicated earlier on, when he was addressing the Malawians, that he had interacted with former state security minister, making him aware that there were attempts to assassinate him or to harm him, and he cited lots of examples saying that nothing was done, and therefore arguing that him returning to South Africa, he's scared that he might be attacked. But the reality is, he requested bail. If he felt that his life was in danger, he should have gone back to the authorities or to the police to report the matter, to say, I'm on bail, but I want assurance, or I want you to help me, to protect me, because my life is in danger. You don't break the law by skipping the country illegally, but also you violating the bail application agreement, and therefore you are continuously ignoring and violating the laws of the country that is your host, and therefore this is problematic.
And Sophie, I want to talk about that, because there's been a lot of social media reaction. I want to bring up some tweets. So we've been asking our viewers who should be held responsible, and we'll just keep putting them up. As you can see, this one from Brad T. But while we put up those tweets, Sophie, I want you and I to have a discussion about the fact that the Guptas were trending earlier on, and this is because South Africans seem to be expressing frustration with law enforcement agencies, saying that this has happened in the past. Hassan Al-Bashir, Grace Mugabe, that this is the reason why we're in this situation, the Guptas as well.
Well, of course, the law enforcement agencies in South Africa will have to prove to the South African public, but also to SADC, the continent and the world, that this time around it was a real mistake that he was able to leave the country. Because previously we know that there was suspicion that when you talk about Grace Mugabe, there was collaboration to ensure that she was able to leave the country. Secondly, with Omar al-Bashir, I want to tell you, Tsepiso, I was there. I saw al-Bashir leaving. I was at the Sandton Convention Center. I saw him with my naked eyes. I was just scared to take my cell phone and record. He was assisted by the security establishment in South Africa. The protection service was there. I had to take cover, to hide so that they don't see me, because I knew that the South African PP protection services, they know me very well. They've worked with me since Madiba's time, and they were going to recognize me. So I hide myself. I saw al-Bashir leaving the sirens and everything. They escorted him to the airport. I don't know whether he went to OR Tambo, or he went to Lanseria, or he went to Waterkloof. But I saw the South African Police Service, I saw the South African traffic officials escorting al-Bashir. And therefore, these are the issues we have to really discuss as a nation, whether if this administration is saying they are going to do things differently, and they are going to ensure that the image of the country is good, they will really do a proper investigation, and therefore whoever is accountable will be brought to book. I think that's the only way where South Africans will be convinced that indeed the law enforcement agencies were not aware, and they are ensuring that he is brought back to the country to account.
Well, watch the space. We certainly are keeping our eyes on that. Sheperd Bushiri holding a briefing earlier on, confirming that he is in Malawi, saying that it was out of his own safety. We tried to speak to him briefly from Lilongwe, refusing, he did, to confirm how he arrived in Malawi, which is the big question, saying he's still too emotional to talk about it. He even made allegations of xenophobia at a high level in this office, speaking to why he feels vulnerable in this country. We'll continue keeping our eyes on that story as it develops. Now, 2 explosions have